hope you all can hear me. My name is Tricia Swanstrom. I do the Ignite programs for the Wheaton Public Library, and those are the programs that have to do with business, career, and lifelong learning. I consider this all three. So welcome. And I was going to introduce Christine, but she's got a lot to say. Her story is wrapped in her presentation, so I'm not. She's going to remain a mystery, and she'll clue you into that. But I will tell you, Christine and I met at a SCORE event. It was my very first event as the business and career specialist here at the library. And I thought she was the presenter, and she wasn't. She was just an attendee. But the way she was talking at the beginning of the meeting, I thought she was the presenter, and I contacted her right away. Found out she lived across the street from the library. I was like, win-win for me. So that's how Christine and I met, and she had a really good opportunity. So this is a second try at this program. The first round, she got the opportunity of a lifetime. And of course, I said, absolutely, you need to take that, and I'll reschedule. So this is the reschedule. So I really appreciate you doing this. And then I just have one announcement. We have an Ignite University program coming up November 1st. It's in partnership with the Wheaton Chamber of Commerce. Christine Fenney is going to be doing the program. It's going to be DIY design and mail, what every entrepreneur needs to know to grow your business. And that's November 1st at noon. It'll be in room 2B here at the library. The registration is online. For those of you that don't know who Christine Fenney is, she's on multiple board of directors. She's someone you should probably know if you live in Wheaton. She's one of the Alpha Graphics owners, and she's just a fantastic person all around. Actually knew her when I was little. We sang in the Glenell and Schlins chorus together. So side note for that. But welcome to How to Profit from Your Expertise. And I'm going to let Christine take it away.
Well, thank you. You guys.
One more thing. Sorry. Not to steal her thunder. If you're online and you have a question, put it in the chat, and I will ask Christine at the end of her presentation, all your questions. They will get answered, right?
Yes. This is the purpose, is to have more of an informative seminar where you can ask any questions and get anything answered. But before that, I kind of want to just go through my background. And I will tell you, even though I do this all the time and I wore a badge and a gun, I still get extremely nervous up in front of people presenting. So please bear with me. And my apologies for not making it the last time. Duty kind of called and I had to go. So I'm really glad to be here today. So I'm just going to go through my background. That'll help answer maybe some questions, some things to get your mind going, things that might apply to you or questions that you have. And then at the end of the session, I just want to open it up, and I'll do as best I can to answer whatever questions I can and get you guys started. So thank you for being here. See if I can work everything okay. And it's not going. Okay. All right, we'll try this. All right, we're having technical difficulties right away. Hi. The clicker's not working. What did I do? There you go. Which one did you hit? Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. And I tend to wander, so I'll try to stay in one place. So this is a little bit about me. I know it's in the third person. So I'm a forensic genetic genealogist. I'm a law enforcement expert, trainer, and a private investigation agency owner. I'm also a best-selling author. Sounds so bad saying that, but I'm a creator of in-demand training classes through my school, and I have 2 podcasts. And I've been featured on Investigation Discovery, Phoenix's ABC, Fox, Reno's ABC, Trimark Pictures, podcasts, and more. and I've owned my own business since 2008. And if you asked me that when I was younger, I never thought that that would happen. So hopefully I can share a little bit about how that happened and get you guys, if that's what you have in mind, to do also. Okay, so my path. I started out as a wee young one, as a police officer, detective, and sergeant. Wasn't my intention. I never grew up thinking that I was going to be a police officer, but it looked like it was fun. My mom said, well, you always liked watching Angie Dickinson, policewoman. Why don't you try that? Okay. And I loved it. I actually started to volunteer as a reserve, but it was so much fun. Well, let me preface that. I liked volunteering as a reserve officer, but I couldn't continue as a reserve unless I went to the academy. And I really didn't want to become a full-time police officer because you had to drive the car and shoot the shotgun and all that. And they used to call me Dainty Christie in high school. Okay. So that I thought that was never going to happen. And lo and behold, when I went through the academy, because that was my only option, I was like, yeah, I think I can do this. This is kind of cool. And so I had a long career as a police officer, worked a lot of good cases, and I kind of got burnout on it. And so I left and I went into corporate America, and you'll kind of see a trend here, hopefully. And I started out as a temp. And when I left, I was a vice president. I know, right? You can't keep me down. I'm an A++ personality. And so then I left and got kind of burnt out on that. And I opened my own PI agency in 2008, which I currently own. I've been licensed in a couple different states. And then I became a forensic genetic genealogist and a best-selling author. And let me just go. Okay, so let's talk about how I capitalized on my experience. So starting out, the first thing that I did when I was working for Citigroup, I was working in marketing. I went in and I was doing what's called ethical hacking, working on websites and doing things like that. And they had merged with AT&T at the time, and my job was being eliminated. And they said, well, do you know anything about printing or marketing or anything? And I said, no, but I'm sure I can learn, right? It was project management. And so I wanted a good job, right? I was on the job track, good benefits. Mom said, I think you should take it. So I did. And when I left Citibank, I had a lot of skills. I learned how to do web development and stuff like that. And when I got out of corporate, I said, well, I want to start my own business. And so I started a web design company called Site Made Simple. And I went to school and I taught myself web design and web programming and SEO. And I did that for a while. And then I said, dealing with these folks with having the right color and the right language and all that stuff, I wasn't too good at that, right? It seemed very picky for me. And I said, I don't like doing this, and maybe I can do something with investigations. So I opened my own private investigation business and worked a lot of different things. I've worked defense work, didn't like the cheating spouses, and learned a whole lot. Ended up with a government contract right before COVID. That was very good, but then COVID happened and kind of everything went with that. But through that, marketing and gaining my business, an opportunity came because people saw what I was doing. Like, I never wanted to be a teacher, but people said, how are you doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going and doing it, right? So I took the skills, the marketing, right? I had seen the things that we had graphic designers and things. I saw what they were doing there and what I had learned from the web team. And I learned search engine optimization and marketing, online, which is not paid advertising. It's when your website does it for you. And I took that and I implemented it in my business, and I was very successful in my business. And so people said, well, how are you doing that? And so I started training other private investigators how to run their business. And in addition to marketing, it was kind of a little no nonsense, right? Because, being professional and taking care of your clients, but also doing smart things, right? Not letting your business run you, but instead you running your business, right? Not working to live, but living to work. And then combining my police work and PI work, I was working in a defense case, and the defense attorney was calling on an expert, and they wanted to find this teacher that had written a book, former police officer that was teaching in school, and they said, we need a defense expert. And I had seen like Quincy and everybody that, talked on TV and testified, and wow, that's great. And I said, I wish I could be one of those. And the attorney's like, oh my goodness, well, you certainly could. Let's just do that. And so we went before the judge, and I had to have this examination before the judge, and poof, now I'm an expert witness. Okay. And that significantly increased my opportunities and raised my billable hours, if you know anything about working for yourself and what you can charge per hour. And so then I became a police expert witness. And you guys, I have it on the table here for those of you that are online. I said, okay, maybe I can do more with this. And also helping folks in jail. It's a little bit on the other side, right? Because some folks in law enforcement and then working on the defense side, there's the right side and the wrong side. But I like to say, we're all after the same goal with justice. But I wrote this book, just how to interpret police reports and stuff for the folks in jail or for defense attorneys with this book. And this is a nonfiction book, but I started making money, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So I just took what was in my head and wrote it down, and I self-published it. And we can talk about that. You'll see that again tonight, but we can talk about that. So that's another way that instead of me doing it, right, one of the things we talk about is passive income, where you don't have to spend time doing it, kind of like when you make investments and it just keeps multiplying. Well, I wrote the book once, and then it keeps making money all the time, and I don't have to write it again and again and again. So that was what was good about this. And I was able to get my expertise to more people that I normally wouldn't. And I could also use it to market myself, right? Send it out to attorneys or different people. They passed it around the jail, and I was getting calls, right? So that's another good. You could think about this as a marketing thing tool, not only just something that can make money. Okay. Then I had a really cool thing, just really interesting. From my PI business, I started in an investigation discovery series. I will say, can't say a lot, but don't believe everything you see on TV, okay? Then one of the main things, which brings me to where I am today, in 2017, I went through what I call my DNA drama, and I found out through a DNA test that I wasn't who I thought I was, and neither was my mom. And it was really frustrating for me, for somebody that was really confident and thought, and I still do too, I thought I knew who I was. It really tore a hole in me, and I couldn't get help. I paid experts. I'm like, you're like a cop, and you're an investigator, okay? You need to figure this out. And I couldn't. And I had to set my mind together and figure it out and learn how to do it and teach myself. And now I'm a forensic genetic genealogist, okay? And I help police and people find persons of interest, solving cold cases, and finding biological family. And when that happened to me, and I realized that I could find a father in a couple hours, I said, my police need this too. And I immediately threw it out there, right? They talk about throwing like spaghetti on the wall and see if it's going to stick, right? They teach you as a business owner, throw it out there and see if it has traction. This is a funny story. I wasn't going to talk about this, but so in the business world, they teach you, you don't have to make it, right? Sell it first and then make it. So I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. I got my nerve up. And because when you're on the inside, you're good. But when you're on the outside, like even though I was one of them, now I'm a civilian. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of nervous. And is this the right thing? And should I be doing this? And I threw it out there. I just put it online. I went to a movie It was Memorial Day weekend in 2021. I went to a movie, I came out and I had 2 sales and I was freaked out. And I was freaked out because the class started in like 4 days and it wasn't done. And my first student was the director of the Federal Law Enforcement Academy. Okay. So I was like, oh, okay, right on. And so that's how I started teaching courses. That's what I do now. And that's led to books, clothing, and merchandise. And I'll show you a little bit more about that. So one of the things that you want to have as a person or, as a business owner is you want to have the art of multiple income streams. And not to get into that topic too much, but we've seen in the news about different things with different businesses or things with COVID or things in the economy or anything can happen. And a business that you had can go away like nothing, right? And when COVID came and the court shut down, my 6-figure expert witness business was gone and it didn't come back. Okay. So it's important to have multiple income streams, preferably when you don't have to do the doing. Okay. When I was doing my expert work, even though I loved it, I had to do the doing. Okay. But the books and stuff, you do the doing once and then it keeps growing and growing and growing, kind of like rabbits. Okay. It multiplies. All right. Genetic genealogy, I can find people, I can figure this stuff out, I can let people know who they are. So who does that apply to? Well, I started out with the police to catch murderers and killers and identify unknown human remains. And then I realized with the current economy and with the way the police are, they're underfunded, they're understaffed, and there's a heck of a lot of cases. We've got over 14,500 unidentified human remains cases across the United States. People back from the 1920s that don't have their identity and they're laying dead somewhere. It's disgusting, but that's one of my goals to help them, right? So I created that for the police, but they're underfunded. And people like doing this. There's people like me. So I created a certificate program for people to go through and learn to be me so that they can help other people. And I also have, for folks that maybe don't want to do it as a career, or maybe they don't want to go work for the police, I have a subscription service where they can call me or jump on a call once a month, depending on the level, and they can get help. They can get their questions answered. So multiple different ways of earning income from my drama or my trauma, right? But that's different ways that you can work it. So how would you be able to do this? So this is just an example. I currently use Podia. I used to use Teachable, but I currently use Podia. And you can see that when I started my business, I had a course that was 24 hours to start up, how to start your business in under 24 hours for under $100, but stuff has changed, okay? Because that's how I do business, okay? Free is good, especially when you're starting. So this is free. I'm not free now, but you guys could start this for free. And one of the things that I like about this is it comes with a community, and it's your community. If you have a group you're trying to reach to, because Facebook can kick you out like nobody's business, right? We've seen all the cancel culture, whatever. But I went this way because I can maintain my community. I can email my people and they're my people. So that's what I use. I'm just giving you practical advice about what I use. Then these are books. These are my books on Amazon. So I had to tell you, I don't want to get out of the camera. Sorry. I always wanted to write all my cop stories. I said, I'm going to write, because all these cop books that I read, I said, I'm going to write a great book. And I was very, very nervous. Now, I wrote my nonfiction book, but writing fiction for me is like, I write police reports, okay? Just the facts, ma'am. And so make believe and all this stuff is very difficult for me. I'm very black and white. But when I realized, so doing this for the police, I'm not a millionaire yet. Not close to it. I would like to be, because I can help people, right? I had to learn that making money isn't bad, because when you make money, you can do more for more people. And I personally believe, this is just me, that God gave me this experience, this DNA drama, because I have a unique set of skills that I can help people. And so with that, I'm on a mission. I donate a lot of my time and a lot of training. I said, I need to raise money for these people, to identify these people. And here's two of them. I started writing fiction, and I've got some haters. You can go online on Amazon. I have a card here. You can get it. I have some really nice haters. I'm very proud of these books. I worked really hard on them. And what I did was, and the proceeds go to help the people. It costs about $7,500 for the lab work and the investigation to identify the people using genetic genealogy. I donate half of that for free, but the labs are charging that. So I try to raise money through the books. And what I do is I take an actual case. I have a podcast, and I take the facts of the case. This is a lady that washed up in, what year was it? Yeah. This is Lily. If you read the books, this is Lily in the book. Yeah, but I'm the character, we're the characters in the book. But she washed up in 1961 in Florida with a rope and a concrete block around her leg. And she still is to this day unidentified, Jane Doe. And so I thought, well, people like cozy mysteries and all that. I'm going to write a book. And so I created a fictional story using genetic genealogy, and I identified her. Again, raising money. This book is about a John Doe out in Nevada. I loved writing this one. This was really interesting. If you read it, it involves a train and travel across the United States. And there's a third book out, very sad. I just released the third one, Fabric of Deceit. And it's about a young boy that was left in a laundry bag on the side of the road. All those cases are still unsolved, okay? But another way, just think if these were not that, but this is a way that you can make money. So I started this it says January, but I started this in June, and $3,000, right? So that's another way. Again, I just want to get your mind thinking, and we're going to open it up and talk about that. But these are just all kinds of things that you can do. Oh, there's the books. Okay. Then I said, well, I want to make stuff. I want to do things and make stuff. I like being creative. And I started it a while back with some law enforcement themed things. And I don't know if you guys can see this. It kind of looks like a handcuff because it is, right? I thought I would make some products for the law enforcement community. It's a play on handcuffs. These are yoga pants. And we have a dress. I mean, all kinds of things that we have up there. That's the first thing that I did. And we have these really cute shoes that I was really proud of. I have an NFT that I'm going to release once those go better, but these are little piggies. These are little cop and sheriff piggies called Beat Feet, if you get the pun. And so I started a store because I was like, I had really fun making these things. And if I can, again, raise money making these things. So I started this store again, and then, oh, sorry, I forgot I put my water in here. I started a podcast for the unknown humans remain. Those are the unidentified humans. And I'm hoping that I don't have a lot of listeners now. What I do is I just get on and I don't show my face, because if you can't tell, I'm a little overweight from all my stress and drama. I haven't recovered, and my mom died. Haven't recovered from that. I've been eating it away, yes. But I started this podcast and I don't have to show my face, and I record it. And we can talk about that. But I'm hoping to get monetized from YouTube, right? That's another way from ad revenue with that. So what I do is I take the cases and I just talk about the individual cases. Remember the milk cartons? So the podcast is like a little milk carton. And I made stuff from that, all kinds of cool stuff. And then the last thing, so you can see I just started this and I made 200 so far. My next thing is, so that other black and yellow, which she's wearing the shirt, is for the unknown humans. And this is my latest one for the catch a killer. Because in addition to the 14,500 unidentified human remains, we have over 250,000 cold cases across the United States and more. And so these, which I came up, like, I can't help myself sometimes when I get going, I put the QR code on here because I thought, wouldn't you be intrigued if you saw somebody wearing a shirt with this or carrying this, and then you scan the QR code and then you're like, I want one of those for myself. And the sale, again, the sale is the sale is the sale, and we're raising awareness at the same time. So I'm trying this, but I got $200. Now that's, not net yet, but that's another way to make money. You can do all kinds of cool things. And like they talked about, who somebody was saying about the DAR. And I made some things for that too, for people that want to, whatever you like, schools or, gardening. We'll talk about all that. Okay. Yeah. And this is some of the different things that you can make and sell. There's luggage, journals, purses, mugs, aprons, shirts, yard signs. Amazing things that you can do. This is print on demand. So all I do is design it and they print it right on there. So you order it, I don't even touch it. Okay. You might have heard of drop shipping, like this is even better. But you could, I made this design. You can see it's pretty simple, but you could pay someone on Fiverr, make you a little design, and plop that right out. So, and they do it all for you. That's the podcast. Put it up on Spotify, free. I don't pay anything to put it up there. And they distribute it for me. Okay, so they're doing the marketing for me. And I want to mention too, you can see I'm starting out. It doesn't say, I don't have very many subscribers, but I'm working on it. With my books, I also do audiobooks, right? So you can have audiobooks if you want. Okay, so here's the nitty gritty. I love this saying. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. And that is totally me. Now, you heard me talk about everything that I've done. I'm like the Energizer Bunny, A++, right? I just do not stop because I find something, I have an idea that I want to do, or I'm not satisfied with the way things are, and I'm going to just keep doing it. And what I tell people when you get into business is, you can't talk about it. There was the other gentleman that left. I was talking to him and I said, when you start doing something, if you haven't had a business before, what you think you're going to do is not necessarily what you're going to end up doing. Okay. But you got to do something. And yeah, you're nodding. Yes. And you have to kind of jump out there, because if you play it safe, there are some benefits, and we could talk about, while you have a job and you're getting the W-2, and then you have the business expenses, although I'm not tax advised, but there's some good ways to work it. But in reality, you're not all in until you're all in. And that's the best thing that I can tell you, right? So you just have to get started and start doing it. So I love this slide. All right. So discovering your income generating passion. What is your why? What do you like to do? So that's something to think about. Maybe what I've been talking about, and I want to, once I'm done talking, I want to open it up and get some questions, and we'll talk about what are some things that you want to do and what is your why. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do, right? Remember when I talked about my site made simple and my marketing? I like doing that. I like building websites and doing all that, but I don't like dealing with the people where I have to bicker over what color is the right color blue over and over and over again. It just wasn't fun for me. And it helps if you have a good why. So I can stay up all night and do stuff for my unknown humans and catch a killer and all that stuff because it resonates for me. So in my life, one of the reasons I left corporate was because I had to get back to my roots. Yes, I became a cop because it was fun, but I'm a helper. And so it helps if you're doing a business to keep you going when you've got to take that leap. If you're doing something that really means something to you, that you're going to get something back besides the income, right? I can't think what it, your soul is fulfilled. In addition to your bank account, your soul is fulfilled also. All right. So in preparation for this, I went to YouTube, right? Because you're thinking, what skills do I have? This is as of 2021, because I did ask I asked Chatty, I call him Chat GPT, if you're not familiar with that, very helpful. And I said, what are the most, right? Because most people may say, well, you worked in corporate and you were a cop and most of us aren't cops. And where am I going to get that from? Well, there's probably things that you just do in your normal life that you're really good with or you like to do. And look at these. I was very surprised at these numbers. So the number, okay, and people go to YouTube because they want to learn how to do something. And the reason I mention that is because you can make a course for that and make money, right? Okay, so one leads to, it's a domino effect. So if you're good at home decor and renovation, that's the number one search. And especially with COVID, they said people were going crazy with that. So you could do a podcast or you could do make a cabinet or something like that. And you don't even have to teach it live. You could record the class and then people just take it. Knitting and crocheting patterns, pottery, ceramics, origami paper crafts, model building, miniature art, jewelry making and beadwork, leather making, upcycling and repurposing. And that's just, the list was huge. So you never know, like you think, so I can make fancy corn or, some recipes or something. You're like, nobody's going to want that. Yes, they do. Like, you think it's nothing to you, but to somebody else, it's really helpful. Remember when I was struggling with my genetic genealogy and nobody would help me? I was just like, please, God, let me find somebody to give me the answer. Well, you have all those answers that people are looking for. Okay. Okay, that's obviously in the wrong place. Okay, this is just an example. I thought this was really cool because people say, well, that's good for you, but I can't do that. Well, Mosiah Bridges, Mose Bose, he started out, again, I got this online. He was 9 years old, specializing in homemade stylish bow ties. Now you would say, who's going to wear a bow tie? That's a stupid idea, right? Nope. Still going strong today. All right. Looking pretty snazzy. And that's his website. Alina Morse, Zollipops. Okay. Sugar-free lollipops and candy. You're going to say, okay, other than a diabetic, like who's going to want that? All right. Well, keto is really good now. So people don't want, sugar and all that. But still, a lollipop company, she was 7 years old. Still going today. So it's just, you can't, I think we're our own worst enemy in saying, nobody's going to want that. That's not going to be good enough, but you don't know until you try it. Okay. So the desire to monetize expertise and the quest for income. Do you want to have fun? Do you want to make money or do you want to do both? Right. So some of you, depending on where you're at life, in life, you might just want to try something, throw it up there on Instagram or Shopify or Etsy, whatever, and see what happens. Like there's no need behind it, or maybe you just need to wing it and try something. Because if it doesn't pan out, no harm, no foul. And and just test the waters, right? With something that has, you know, zero thing, or maybe you need to make some money, right? It just depends where you're at. Okay. So you might think that you need a website. I just wanted to point out, this is something else that I use. This is Yola, YOLA. And again, people think, oh, I can't do it because it costs money. Free. Okay, this is the website that I still use today. And I started it in 2008 and I'm still using it. Great SEO. Okay, people talk about Wix and this, that, and yada, yada, and whatever, but free, right? You can still do it. You can start out for free and you can throw it against the wall and see if it sticks, if you get any traction. Video. Yola, YOLA. Video. Okay, if you're doing classes or you're doing your podcast, you got to have that video, but you don't have to necessarily be on it. Okay, because I have 2 now and I don't have to be on it because, you know, all that. But the one that I used to use now charges, the one I still use, but we have this Vidyard software, once again, free. Okay, and my students in my course use it. So no excuses why you can't get started. Remember that saying, you just got to start doing the doing. Audio. Okay, so maybe you don't want to do a video podcast and you just want to do an audio podcast. Well, if you record it through video software, maybe you want to do, and then like, because I put it on Spotify and I'm also on YouTube, I record the video and then I rip it out through this VLC media player. So what it does is it extracts the audio separate off of the video. And then I put the video and audio on YouTube. And then the VLC is the audio. And I put it up on Spotify. Free, 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 free. Okay, so in summary, where there is a will, there is a way. What are you willing to do? And I'm going to open it up for online and in person for questions, because obviously you came here for a reason, not just for me to talk about myself, but I really want to help you in whatever I can impart to you to help you guys get started. And I know we have some folks online. So do we have anybody in the studio audience that has any questions right now? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm breaking the rules. Sorry. Oh, microphone. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
People ever sell an idea for a product rather than actually making the product themselves, but you might sell it to a company that makes something that they could make that. Like you're selling the idea rather than trying.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy. Yeah, I my answer is yes. But I think you might have to, depending on if it's a prototype or something like that. Like I'm sure you could probably get a licensing or thing, but I think in business, they talk about proof of concept. And so a lot of people have good ideas, but I would think, right, I've never done that. So I'm just guesstimating here because I have a lot of ideas. If I could do that, that would be great. You want to have proof of concept. And so having the value behind it, because you want to get money for it, right? So if you say, I have this $1 million idea, but there's no proof of concept, how are you going to sell it to them? If it's a physical thing, maybe you could do a prototype, but I don't know if that answers your question, but I would say yes. Like people sell movie scripts and ideas for movies and things like that. But more than likely, like a VC, a venture capitalist or something, or to license it, they're going to want proof of sales or proof of concept. So I think it might be tough. Any other questions? Do we have any questions online? Okay.
Someone asked, can they get a copy of your slides?
Are they looking for the ones? I'd probably take out the income stuff so I can send that and you can send it out. But yeah, I want to take out the bragging.
Okay,
stuff.
so the answer is I
Yeah,
have your
yeah,
permission to share what you edit.
Good, yes.
All right. And then I do have a couple questions on here. Let me get that up. How did you go about self-publishing your book, and what sales outlets did you use?
Okay, so self-publishing, when I first started, the yellow book for my nonfiction, for my expert book, I used a company. I wrote it in Word, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. I used a company called Publish Drive, and this go round, I did it all myself, and I published it right to Amazon. Basically, what you can do, as long as you have it formatted, you just need to format it, and you set up an Author Central account, KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing on Amazon, for Amazon, right? That's the behemoth. And you just upload it up there, right? So as long as it's formatted correctly, you put it up there and they sell it for you. And this time I got a software which is called Atticus. You got to pay for it. I mean, you could do it on a Word document and make a, PDF and format it, or pay someone on Fiverr. And you say, I need an Amazon format, and you create an account just like you upload a photo. It's right up there. And they start selling it for you. Did I answer their question good enough? Atticus, ATTICUS.io. It is expensive, but if you're just testing the waters, you might want to go to Fiverr, and you give them your Word document. You might want to have like a non-disclosure or some sort of something. Do your research on Fiverr or whoever. Maybe there's someone in the community that formats that. And then you just put it up on Amazon.
Someone asked about marketing soft skills.
Can we be more specific?
They said, what about marketing soft skills?
I'm not sure what a soft skill is. Okay. Yeah. You got, okay.
So you've talked a lot about the physical products and, books, videos, training, but what about the services? And maybe that's what they're meaning.
Like a life coaching or a,
Well, no. So I'm thinking, so
tell me your idea, and let's talk through it.
yeah. Well, so I was thinking more like for services would be like your investigative services. So I'm a quality engineer, and I'm looking to take that and start a consulting business and bring that to,
Okay.
businesses.
Okay, perfect. So I don't know. I'm going to make an assumption, like a bridge, whatever. You QA a bridge, right? Whatever. What do you QA?
Mostly systems. So the like documentation,
workflows, technology. Okay.
auditing, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let
workflows.
me go with this one. So attorney workflow. Okay. So I would suggest maybe writing a book. You could write a book like my book, like 10 quality assurance or workflow issues that every attorney needs to know. And you could make a little book and you could send it to them. Or you could create a podcast and talk about, I was working with this client to, remember when I talked about my PI, like I was a little more snarky, right? And I'd be like, oh, I had this client that, wanted to pay $5 and needed it right now, 100 miles away, like that sort of thing. Best practices. But you could start a podcast or have a Facebook page where you just talk about real world, like, hey, if you're an attorney, and I know that's just my example for the example, you don't want to have this happen, because when this happens, here's how you fix it. And you can do a YouTube, right? Because the attorney's going to be like, oh, my whatever broke, my workflow broke, or I'm getting audited, or oh my goodness, my billing went out the window and I need somebody to help me right now. How do I fix that problem? And they're going to Google and they're going to YouTube, or they're going to find a book for that. That's my immediate thought. Yes, no? I mean, is that resonating with you at all?
It's something I hadn't considered before.
Yeah, so this book was to get the attorneys and the prisoners, because they don't even know, and what I'm doing now, like in law enforcement, they don't even know that what I have sort of exists. So I have to do an education, right? So they may not even know that they're going to have a problem. Like they might not even know that their quality is bad, or they're going to get liability, right? Liability is a big word. So if you can position it from preventative and just start talking about it and say, you know, did you know that the most common thing that's going to ruin your whatever is this? They're like, oh my gosh, right? You could send them a mail out and say, you know, like I just sent a letter to the police department and I'm like, hey, you got like one of them, you got 283 of these cases and I got the answer. They were like, okay, sign me up. So just if you start talking about it, figure out what the problem is, you know, what is your skill, figure out what the problem is, and how can you educate them, right? Sometimes they're not even aware of the problem, and how can you educate it? And then what can you, for the least expensive, solve it, right? So you need to have them know, like, and trust you. And that's where you just start talking about it and you position yourself as the expert. And a book is the best way one of the best ways to do that. Just a thought off the cuff. But that could be any skill, you know, mother thing, caregiving, you know, dementia care. I mean, life coaching. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff on it. So
I'm just going to add, from what I'm hearing, don't be your worst enemy, your own worst enemy.
meaning,
have faith in yourself. If
yes, and that's hard. I mean, you know, we had the conversation this morning because it's you know, I believe that I'm called to do this, but there's times, like I said, I have these rotten haters online with these books, and I'm like, I'm trying to pay for these poor people to get their identity back. Like I'm giving the money away to these people and you're going to hate on me. Like that's hard. But that's why I go back to the why. Okay. What is your why? Like, I cannot believe that all this would have happened before I was born for me to have this skill set and all that I learned and all my experiences. I have to do this. So you might be retired, you might want a career change or something is just fun for you, then do it. But don't, I'm guilty of always, because the cop in me, I was trained at 19. The bad guy's always going to get you and you need to be on guard. And so I am totally my worst enemy, because anything I do, I'm like, what's the downside and how do I protect against that? So I automatically, what she's saying, I automatically assume, well, they're not going to want that. Like, why would they want that? They have this, right? And so I am my own worst enemy, but you don't know if you don't try it. And I will tell you to help with that. Even in my PI business, I thought, oh my gosh, we have this, what is it? E-Verify. Okay. We have these businesses. I would investigate as a cop and they would have these, you know, thousands of dollars, $40,000 theft or employee this, that, and whatever. And they would call me in after the fact. And I was like, you need to do background checks on your employees. Okay. And we can prevent that. Very simple. And E-Verify, right? You get in trouble from the government and they're like, nope. I'm like, what? They would rather call me after the fact to come in and clean up. And I'm like, you could pay me $100 now. Like they wanted the 1995 special, as I call it. But you could pay me $100 now and not have a problem. But no, they would rather wait until it's a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 problem. But don't be your own. So you might throw stuff out there and you might try stuff and it doesn't exactly work. But that also goes with, you know, somebody said there's, I don't know how many billion, 7.8 billion people in the world. Not everybody's going to be your customer. You just have to find the right customer. And I will tell you, don't be a bottom feeder. Tire kickers are the worst. Price yourself according, like if I could get, like the business mom to everybody. Tire kickers will, the lowest price, the free people and all that stuff. I'm a free person, I go for the free stuff. They will waste so much of your time. So charge your worth, talk to your friends, do some market research, throw it out there. It may not be the right thing the first time, but yeah, it's an interesting animal, but just don't automatically preclude yourself from it. And if it doesn't work exactly the right way, and then you may hate it, right? Like I thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to be teaching classes and traveling all over around the world. I'm like, no, I don't want to go anywhere anymore. I'm doing it online. Okay. Like that's it. I'm done. I went to virtual and now I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to record it like my other class. No, then they could pay me extra if they want to talk to me. Cause I have better uses of my time. I want to solve cases instead of, right? So it's up to you. You can create your reality, but you got to test it and you got to, yeah. So yep, we got one over here. Yeah.
When you do like the clothing, the coffee cups, the different product stuff, like, okay, so if I just made like one or two things and throw it out there.
No, that's the beauty. Okay, so this is the really cool thing. I ordered that stuff for myself. Okay, you make it and put it. If you guys take, I don't have it on this. If you guys scan the QR code, you'll see. If you have your phone, you make it, and it sits on the store online. You don't have to keep stock. Right. Like you just throw it out there. Like I said, this looks cool. So I made the design. Do you know how to do a QR code? Hopefully we'll see proof of concept if it works to come up. Okay. So open that up. It'll go to my store. So I have this because I wanted one to show you guys. And I think it's cool. Like I'm going to carry it around because when I carry it around, I'm selling. Oh, that's cool. Where'd you get that? Oh, this is my thing. You want to catch a killer? Scan the thing, buy one. Okay. But no, there's no overhead. You don't have to do anything. The company makes it. They take your design. So the company has these mugs in store or these plain white shoes, and you come up with the design and they put it on there. So you place the order. And it's like print on demand, like one comes out, like this book. The manuscript is up there at Amazon. They're not in the warehouse and they print one. When you order one, they print one. Isn't that cool? It's what? Yeah, like, I mean, right. Like, so sometimes when I'm getting crazy, I'm like, I'm going to make some stuff today. And I'm like, and then I send it, I'm like, look what I made. Like I made a keychain and we got a mug and yes. Yep. Same thing.
What's that? Is that fabric already exists with the handcuffs?
No, they printed it on here. It's called, that's my design. It's called direct to garment or dye sublimation. Same thing with the shoes. Sorry, you guys that are on the video. Sorry. Yeah. Come on up and yep. And then I plop the picture up there. They do the rest. They mail it out. And my thing goes cha-ching. Print full, and print. They do the shirts. print. Sorry, I forgot to put it in the PowerPoint. FUL and Printify. I just started using them. So PRINTIFY. Not on that one. Here, bring him the cup. So this was a black, mouse pad by itself. And they put my logo on there. This was, be careful, a black mug, and they put my logo on here. And I didn't have to do anything. I just plopped the logo all over. You'll see if you scan the code. That's for the newsletter, Janet. They need to scan the cup. But so that's just, if you look at the rest of the store, you'll see the rest of the stuff. So I'm like, I want to make some mugs. What can I put on the mugs? Like Christmas trees and family names. And I just go to town. It's like cooking, but you don't have to cook. And they do the whole thing, right? So you can be creative. You can try it. And if it doesn't sell, you just make something else. We got any more questions? Okay, hang on. We got one more. And then, no, I'm just here to, I have fun. Like that. Why be in business if you can't have fun, right?
But are you content with who you are after you found that out?
Well, I don't exactly know who I am because, well, yes. And I'm like, could you please give me the answer? No, there's, it's very interesting that, I mean, I know who my family is. So instead of a Burke, I'm a Von Rittern, and I'm from here, Barrington and Oak Park. So if anybody knows who my dad is, but back in the day, believe it or not, and this is where the genetics are so important, because the genealogy, they passed kids around and redid all kinds of, let me tell you, the grandparents were like, so that's how I don't know, because somebody is not who they say they are. But I'm, I've got my two families identified, but I don't know exactly, and it still bothers me. Like, you think identity doesn't matter. To me, it really does. So, and I will tell, can I throw my little 5 cents in? If you've done any ancestry testing, if you would consider opting in and putting it at FTDNA and GEDmatch, because it helps us catch the killers, the more people we have in the database, that would be great. But I'm so excited I got to share everything with you guys tonight. I hope I've inspired you or, got some ideas going, and don't let it stop. Okay. Mine come to me in the shower, and then I have to run out and put it down on a sticky because my mind's clear. Right. But just try it. Just act on it. Yes. Oh, perfect. Oh my God. Okay. We got an hour. Okay. Yes.
So like, there's so many items out there. How do I know if something I come up with, say I make earrings or something, I don't know. How do I know they're not already out there and somebody's going to say, oh, you stole my idea, or,
Excuse me. Well, trademark is a whole issue, but if you're doing like your original, photography or something like that, and it's your own creation, right? Add your spin on it, I would say. Like, you kind of want to look, you don't want to necessarily duplicate somebody. But I found out because somebody copied a graphic that I did, right? I'm not the lawyer, and they said they can copy like the look and feel of it, but it can't be, I forget exactly how it was. Like the picture was a little bit different, but it was the same components, like my jail cell and my DNA, but they had different colors. So there's just certain things you can and certain things you can't, but you got to try it. Like, why would you want to make the same thing? Why not make something original? I mean, you could sell your photos now. You kind of have, Midjourney and all the AI and stuff like that. That might be a little tough. I would look into that. But doing earrings and stuff like that, just you could put up an Etsy or Shopify store, and you could just sell them right on Facebook, sell it with your friends. Just try passing it around and say, hey, would you share my stuff, and see if people like it.
is Shopify another website?
Shopify and Etsy seem to be the online store. So you can have like an online store.
Okay, with Shopify and Etsy, okay, like we have an idea for a t-shirt,
Yes.
but it's so many t-shirts. How will people come to find us?
Well, yeah. Well, that's your marketing. So like, is your t-shirt, without getting into it, is your t-shirt mean something to you, or is it something like my Catch a Killer? Is it something like that, or is it just like a really cool design? Is there a story behind it?
It's a religious t-shirt.
Okay. There's a religious bookstore or a religious store right down the street, right?
Mhm.
Okay. You could have people license it. Okay. You can join Facebook groups that are religious based. You could maybe you could find a charity in the church or some type of mission or something and co-op with them and say, you want to sell this for us? We'll give you how. Like, I could talk all day about that, right? So you put it out there, like with the keywords and stuff, like your friends and the people you hang with, your community could be religious based, right? They might want to buy it. They might want to share it for you. Maybe you want to do a community. Like if there's a message behind it, right? Is it a story of a transformation or some, right? That's what you're building. And then that t-shirt might lead to another t-shirt. And so it's like religious tees are us. Okay. And then that might be your whole thing. Or maybe it's the t-shirt and maybe it's a set of books, or maybe it's a program that you're teaching people to, like, I don't know what it is, but you see how it all generates off that one idea.
With the t-shirt, it's not just a t-shirt, it's a brand that we want to try to put out.
Okay.
But the t-shirt is the beginning of it. You can put it on shoes and hats and caps, and
there you go. You got the whole thing
Right,
here.
right, exactly.
Exactly. So there you go. So you would want to look into trademarking it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, that was another thing we was thinking about is the trademarking of it. What do we do and how do we do that?
I would talk to an attorney, right? Well, you got to check the uspto.gov, uspto.gov. And you have to, there's like different search areas. You put the words in, and then depending on what it is, a whole list of things come in, and that's not the gospel, right? So, you might want to, you can throw like some of my stuff. I have the TM, the TM is like a temporary trademark on it. You might want to do some market testing and pass it around with the little TM on it and see if people are going to bite on it right first. And then because you got to pay a little bit, I paid $800,000 to have an attorney manage my trademark thing for you. So you got to make that investment, but you can do that. Like, so you want to test market maybe a little, but you want to protect it at the same time. So, but you could, well, I'm just saying you could pass it around to your friends, right? And say, well, you could have them sign non-disclosure agreements and then show it to them. Say, what do you think? But you could pop it right on the Printify or the Printful and start marketing it, but people will rip you off. I mean, so you could just, so there's a difference between a brand and then a design, right? So your brand can be the design. Right. Like my genetic genealogy for law enforcement is the brand, but this is the design.
I'm having a branding program at the end of January.
Oh, there you go.
Connor Canine, the Irishman Speaks, is gonna be here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like you got the whole thing right there. You just need to start getting your ducks in a row.
The public library has a lot of resources.
There you go. Yeah. See?
Email me.
You need to make an appointment.
Email. Yeah. I'm actually out of the office till November 13th. But starting this
anybody wanna
week,
scan
but you can reach me at well, you should have gotten an email from me today, Trisha T. Swanstrom. It was Ignite. It's the same thing. I get the Ignite. You can email ignite@wheatonlibrary.org, or you can email me T. Swanstrom, SWANSTROM @wheatonlibrary.org. Any other questions? I think we're going to wrap it up.
Well, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to see what you guys come
Thank you,
up with.
Christine.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.